It's Tuesday, May the 5th, 2026. You're listening to the DX Today AI Daily Brief. Today, Bret Taylor's Sierra raises nearly $1 billion as enterprise AI agents go mainstream. Anthropic teams with Blackstone and Goldman Sachs to take on the consulting industry. And a Mayo Clinic AI model spots pancreatic cancer up to 3 years before diagnosis. Let's get into it.
Sierra, the customer service AI agent startup, co-founded by OpenAI chair Bret Taylor and former Google executive Clay Baver, announced a $950 million Series E led by Tiger Global and Google Ventures. The round values Sierra at $15.8 billion post-money, roughly tripling its valuation in under a year. The 3-year-old company says it crossed $150 million in annual recurring revenue in just 8 quarters, with customers including Prudential, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Rocket Mortgage, and more than 40% of the Fortune 50. Sierra's pitch is a new layer of enterprise software built on top of foundation models from OpenAI and Anthropic. Last month, it launched Ghostwriter, an agent-as-a-service tool that builds and deploys other agents on demand.
Now, a Wall Street move.
Anthropic announced a $1.5 billion joint venture with Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, and Hellman and Friedman, aimed squarely at the consulting industry. The new firm, backed by founding partners contributing roughly $300 million each, will embed engineers inside private equity-owned portfolio companies to redesign workflows and integrate Claude into core operations. Apollo, General Atlantic, GIC, Leonard Green, and Sequoia Capital are also in. The structure is unusual. Rather than billing hours like McKinsey or Bain, the venture takes equity-style stakes in transformation outcomes. Anthropic frames it as a bet that AI deployment, not strategy decks, is what private equity now needs. Anthropic's run-rate revenue has reportedly crossed $30 billion, up from roughly $9 billion at the end of last year.
OpenAI counters with its own play.
OpenAI on Monday finalized a competing $4 billion joint venture, internally branded the Deployment Company, with private equity backers TPG, Brookfield Asset Management, Advent International, and Bain Capital. The vehicle is structured to help large enterprises move from pilot programs to full-scale deployment of OpenAI's models inside operations, finance, and customer-facing teams. The matched announcements from OpenAI and Anthropic on the same day mark a striking moment for enterprise AI. Both labs are now signaling that selling a model is not enough. The next race, and arguably the bigger market, is owning the path from foundation model to deployed agent inside the Fortune 500. The Deployment Company is expected to begin engagements within weeks.
Across the Pacific.
Chinese multimodal AI startup Shengshu Technology raised the equivalent of $293 million in a late-stage round led by Alibaba Cloud, with participation from Baidu Ventures and Luminous Ventures. Shengshu builds what it calls a general world model, a foundation system trained jointly on video, image, and 3D data to simulate physical environments. The company's Vidu video generation platform has been one of the most used Chinese rivals to OpenAI's Sora. The new capital will fund longer context world simulation, robotics integrations, and a fresh data center footprint inside Alibaba's cloud. The deal is also a signal. Chinese hyperscalers are increasingly funding domestic AI champions directly, tightening the loop between model training, compute, and deployment.
Riyadh and Seattle, in lockstep.
Saudi Arabia's Humane, the AI company majority-owned by the Public Investment Fund, announced an expansion of its strategic collaboration with Amazon Web Services to deliver Humane One, billed as the industry's first enterprise-grade operating system for building, deploying, and governing autonomous AI agents at scale. The platform combines a developer toolkit called the H2O platform with Humane Fabric, a data governance layer designed for sovereign and regulated industries. Through AWS, Humane One will be distributed across 39 global regions and 123 availability zones. The expansion builds on the $5 billion joint plan the two companies announced last year and positions Saudi Arabia as a serious exporter of agent infrastructure, not just an importer of foundation models.
And inside the C-suite.
A new global study from the IBM Institute for Business Value finds that the C-suite itself is being rewired around AI, surveying 2,000 chief executives across 33 countries and 21 industries. IBM reports that 76% of organizations now have a chief AI officer, up from just 26% a year ago. 64% of CEOs say they are comfortable making major strategic decisions based on AI-generated input. Looking ahead, CEOs expect 29% of employees to need reskilling for entirely different roles by 2028, and another 53% to need upskilling for their current ones. The study's central finding: companies that redesign across technology, finance, HR, operations, and cross-functional collaboration are 4 times more likely to hit their strategic objectives.
Intel rebuilds its leadership.
Intel announced 2 senior appointments designed to accelerate its push into client AI and physical AI systems. Alex Katuzian, a 25-year Qualcomm veteran who most recently led mobile, compute, and extended reality, joins as Executive Vice President and General Manager of a newly formed Client Computing and Physical AI group. Pushkar Ranade was named Chief Technology Officer. Both report directly to Chief Executive Lip-Bu Tan. The new group aligns Intel's PC silicon roadmap with the emerging market for embodied AI, spanning robotics, autonomous machines, and intelligent edge devices. The signal is clear. After 2 difficult years, Intel is betting that the company best positioned to win the physical AI wave is one that already designs for low-power, on-device inference at planetary scale.
A medical breakthrough.
Mayo Clinic researchers published findings on an AI model called RedMod that can detect pancreatic cancer on routine abdominal CT scans up to 3 years before clinical diagnosis. Trained on nearly 2,000 pre-diagnostic and diagnostic scans, the model identified 73% of cancers at a median of about 16 months before they were clinically discovered, nearly doubling the detection rate of specialists reviewing the same scans without AI assistance. Pancreatic cancer is one of the most lethal solid tumors precisely because it is rarely caught early. Mayo's team is now exploring how the model could be integrated into existing radiology workflows to flag at-risk patients during scans ordered for unrelated reasons. Validation studies across additional health systems are planned for later this year.
Backlash inside Google.
Roughly 600 Google employees have signed an open letter opposing a new agreement that allows Gemini AI models to be deployed inside the Department of Defense's classified networks for, in the contract's words, any lawful purpose. The deal makes Google one of 8 technology firms cleared to operate on Pentagon classified systems, alongside Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, NVIDIA, OpenAI, SpaceX, Reflection, and Oracle. The letter echoes the 2018 revolt over Project Maven, but observers note the political climate is starkly different now. Google leadership has so far signaled it will not back down. The episode highlights a widening rift inside frontier AI labs between executives racing to capture defense contracts and engineers uneasy about military AI deployments.
Funding flows to agents.
New York-based Avica closed a $125 million Series B, led by General Catalyst and Meritech Capital Partners, with participation from Kleiner Perkins, Box Group, Alt Capital, and Amplify Partners. Avica builds AI-powered customer support agents tailored for home services, the trades, and field operations, segments that have been historically underserved by enterprise software. The round brings total funding to roughly $125.5 million and reflects a sharper investor focus on vertical AI agents that handle real-world workflows like dispatch, scheduling, and emergency response. Investors say the company has been doubling revenue every 2 quarters, with customers reporting double-digit reductions in call center headcount within months of deployment.
And in fintech,
Rogo, an AI-native financial workflow startup, announced a $160 million Series D led by Waterbridge Ventures and March Capital, bringing total funding to roughly $260 million. Rogo's platform automates back-office finance processes that have long resisted automation, including supplier reconciliation, invoice classification, accounts payable matching, and supply chain payments. The company says its agents now process millions of documents a month for clients across manufacturing, logistics, and retail. The new round will fund deeper integrations with Oracle, SAP, and NetSuite, and an expansion into European markets. The deal is the latest sign that AI is moving from front-office productivity tools into the deeply embedded systems of record where most enterprise software dollars actually live.
and one for the orbit watchers.
True Anomaly, the autonomous spacecraft company, closed a $650 million Series D co-led by Eclipse and Riot Ventures, bringing total capital raised to over $1 billion since the company was founded in 2022. True Anomaly builds AI-piloted satellites for what it calls space domain awareness, using onboard machine learning to maneuver, inspect, and respond to other objects in orbit autonomously. The new capital arrives as the U.S. Space Force formalizes its on-orbit servicing and threat response programs. The company plans to expand its constellation, scale its autonomy software stack, and stand up a second manufacturing facility. Investors say True Anomaly is one of the clearest case studies for AI controlling physical systems in a contested environment.
That's your briefing for Tuesday, May 5th, 2026. For DX Today, stay curious.